Hi, welcome to Health Options Podcast. I'm Dr. Mary Riggin, and today we're doing a video to talk about one of my favorite recipes. And this has come at the request of many of you guys in the clinic telling me, we want recipes. It's great information, but help us. So today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite recipes that I use for road trips. And this can be taken on an airplane. You can pack it and take it on the road, and doing a crustless quiche. Now, I like to bake it, and what I did with today's quiche, and there's so many varieties that you can do with eggs. What I did with this, and something I found out recently that works really well in a quiche, is using sweet potato. Now, what I did was I took the sweet potato and I sliced it really thin, and I coated a pan, and you can see the pan right back here that I made it in, with butter like you would if you were baking something. Then I layered the sweet potato, thin slices along the bottom. And then what I also added to it was sauteed Vidalia onion, sauteed mushrooms. I used fresh organic spinach. I chopped it up and then put a layer of that in. I also used this homemade venison sausage that my son had given me. And what I did with that to make it really decadent is I seared it in coconut oil on a really high heat so it really kind of got a nice crisp to it like you would bacon. And I chopped that up and put a layer of that in. Then, of course, for this size pan, I used 9 of the country hen eggs, one of my favorite eggs. And sometimes you can catch those on sale. They're on the higher end cost, but I compare the yolks, and they're one of my favorite. They've got the richest yolks compared to some of the farm fresh eggs I've seen. They're the closest that you can buy in the grocery store. And so I used those, whipped up the eggs, a little bit of organic heavy whipping cream. And then on the top layer, I melted provolone cheese. And what I had gotten was the slices, the Applegate Natural slices, and put that across the top in the oven for about 35 minutes to 40 minutes. I like it, if you can see back here, with a nice crisp on it. I used a 350 oven. And this recipe, you can really modify to whatever fits your needs. What I liked about this one, though, it really covered a lot of the things I want in a meal. Protein, good quality protein. Eggs are always good. It's got a little bit of dairy that makes it a little bit of decadent. For those of you that can't tolerate dairy, you could do like a goat cheese, might work for you, or you can always go cheeseless. But if you're going to do dairy, I always recommend either imported, so from the European community, or organic if it's domestic in the United States. And you whip up your eggs, and I like to use the mixer so it really gets a nice whip on those eggs. For the 9 eggs, I used probably about a 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. Whip that up real good, mixed it with, so I did the layer of sweet potato. I mixed the eggs with the cut up pieces of sausage, poured that over. Then I took my spinach that's chopped up raw, and I put it into the egg mixture, and again in this size pan. And then I took my onions and mushroom saute, and I put that over the pan, and then I topped it with the cheese and in the oven. And quick, easy to travel. This will actually taste better tomorrow, and it also tastes good cold. And so it's something that quick, easy to bring with you. The last time I had been on a trip, and I travel all over the country for various seminars, and last time I had gone, I ended up eating someplace, and some kind of food chemical just hit me the wrong way, and I was down with a migraine for probably 16 hours. I missed one whole day of the seminar. It was not happy, but you just try to make the best of it. And so this time I said, you know what, I got to make sure I bring food. And this last trip I went to California, I thought I could find good things, but I ended up going with some other people, and I should have paid better attention to some of the subtleties in the spices or sauces. And I think that's where I tripped up on myself. So you learn, that's where I find food chemicals hide a lot of the times, is in the sauces and the spices and the dry rubs, things like that. You've got to be careful with, especially if it's a chain restaurant. But even the regular local ones, depending upon what they're using in the kitchen, you just don't know. And so for me, my sensitivity level to food chemicals has gotten to the point where I've got to be careful. So I like to bring something like this. Now, with this being an organic, well-balanced meal, this really is like medicine for my body. And at this point in my life, being a grandmother of 3, almost 4, and in my mid-50s, it's important for me to constantly be striving towards optimal health by turning meals into medicine, rather than, even if it doesn't bother me, exposing myself to some of these chemicals if it can be avoided by just cooking, bringing something with you. It's just a matter of taking a little bit of time and making that extra effort.